Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Cutting Through the Bullshit. I am your host, Dr. Stephanie Snyder, and I am a high performance mentor. Through my unique blend of strategy, mindset, and intuition, I help men and women to cut through the BS in order to create the life and business they desire. So, my question for you today is, how long are you going to let it not work before you try something different? Now, this doesn't mean that you change your approach every day, right? I don't believe that a day is long enough for you to see whether something is working or not. But oftentimes we get stuck in these places where we're just going through the motions. We just keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, i.e. insanity, right? That is actually the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And yet, this is what we tend to do. We get stuck in this place where we're like, okay, this is my routine, this is what I do, this is how I operate, and you're not getting the results that you want, but you just keep going. How long will you do that for? A month? A couple of months? A year? A couple of years? Are you not reflecting? Or are you just scared to try something different? Right? So I'm not entirely sure where this topic came up. I don't remember what was happening because I have these notes on my phone where I get the idea for a topic and I just plug it into my phone and then I tap into it later. But the source of this doesn't matter so much as it does the message. And so what I like to do is have like these mini 30-day experiments. And I call them experiments because it takes the pressure off of it, right? There's no hypothesis that I believe is going to actually come true. There's one that might come true, right? But it's merely to just test the water and see, right? To figure out what works and what doesn't work. And so by doing these little experiments, again, 30 days is usually sufficient for me. Sometimes it's a little bit shorter. Sometimes it might be a little bit longer depending on what it is, right? But typically within 30 days, I will either see results or not see the results, right? And then I know, okay, well, let's switch this up. Let's change things. Let's look at how we can do this differently. And so this approach, yes, sometimes it does feel a little bit like throwing spaghetti at the wall. I get it, right? Because there are some areas that I don't necessarily hone totally in on. My intuition is nudging me here on this right now. Like, actually, Steph, if you sat and talked with us, we would tell you exactly what that looked like. This is my life, right? And so there are some things that are a trial by error, right? Like I've shared this before, is I go into something with a healthy level of skepticism, right? I'm like, it might not work, but let's just try it out. Let's see. Right. And to me, that's a healthy level because I haven't gone necessarily off the deep end and tried something crazy. Right. I'm very open-minded about things. And so I can be like, you know what, let's try that email marketing strategy. And I know immediately, because I've done work on myself, that email marketing doesn't light me up. I actually felt my body be like, nope, not email marketing. Like I felt it in my core and it was like, nope, hate email marketing. So for me, it would be a waste of time for me to grow my email list. Do I have an email list? Can people join it? Yes. Do I send out emails? No. Will I at some point? Maybe. Right? But I don't have an email list right now because I know that's not my approach, right? But there have been other things where I'm like, okay, let's go all in on this for 30 days and see what happens, right? And there have been nutrition programs that I've followed or fitness programs that I've followed. And in 30 days, I'm like, oh, wow, that's actually really cool. I should incorporate this a little bit more into my regular life. And that's the thing here. When I find something that works, it becomes adaptable. I adapt it to my regular life because I believe in growth over a lifetime, right? Like continuously growing, continuously learning, continuously changing, right? I believe that that is paramount in life. And so when I learn something or unlearn something and I find that it works for me, it becomes part of my repertoire. It gets stored away and I use that, right? So this is while there'll be things that I will take from this mentor or from that book or from this thing or from that other thing that ultimately become the sum of me. And there are things that I've let go of because I'm like, ooh, actually, there's a better way. There's a faster way. There's a more efficient way. There's a different way to do this. And that feels like more fun than the way that I'm doing it. Right? But I've given myself permission to be wrong. Because if I am stuck on the idea that success can only be created in this way, that I can receive money only in this way, that wealth only comes to me in this way, that relationships only happen this way, then I've pigeonholed myself. And probably not in a good way. Right? And so I'm okay with getting it wrong. My ego was like, absolutely not. We don't like being wrong. But my human gets stuff wrong a lot, right? Like, I talk about things coming through on a soul level and the wisdom of the soul. And I also share that oftentimes it's like there's a conversation with three separate people going on in my head, right? My soul, my ego, and me, sometimes just watching it, right? So if you imagine the like the Tom and Jerry cartoons where there's the angel and the devil sitting on the shoulders, right? Like I can legitimately have a conversation with different parts of me and watch, just oversee it. And this is just my processes, right? My husband thinks it's absolutely crazy that I will have those kind of conversations with myself, but it's very helpful that I can actually coach myself through a whole lot of things. And it's funny because there's a mentor that we worked together very closely for a couple of years, and periodically I'll reach out and we'll do a one-on-one session, and he always laughs because I send him a message and then I'm like, hey, can we get on a call? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. And then we get on the call and he's like, so you worked it out already? I'm like, yeah, I did. He's like, so what happened? And it will be, whatever the question is I have for him, just by voicing it out loud, it gives permission for the answer to come through. And he always laughs about it. He's like, I don't even know why we have these conversations because you just coach yourself through it anyways. But this is what happens, right? But it's because I've given myself these little mini experiments where I can actually go, you know what? Okay, hey, how can we tweak this? This doesn't seem to be working. Now, having said all of that, there are parts of me that are very thick-headed, willing to admit that, and stubborn. And I want things to work the way that I want things to work, and I get annoyed when they don't work the way that I want them to work. And this is one of my life lessons, is the ability to surrender and say, okay, I've done my part, go do your part. Right? God, take over, do the rest of it, right? Like fill in the gaps here. I've done the parts that I can. I'm trusting you're going to do the parts that you can, right? It is a co-creation there. So, again, how long are you going to let something not work before you try something different? Okay? So, and a very easy way to test the waters on this one is, are you having fun with it? Because that's going to have a really big impact. If you're not having fun with the system, the process, the strategy, the whatever it is you're doing, it probably won't work. It might, probably won't though. Yeah, I feel like I need to end the conversation on that, because it goes back to a previous episode where I shared, if it's not fun, why are you doing it? Right? Your formula for success is going to be enjoyable on some level, right? Whether it's the fact that you enjoy number crunching, or the fact that you enjoy doing Facebook Lives or email marketing or whatever it is, right? What works for you is actually going to be enjoyable on some level. Might be a little bit scary, but it's going to be enjoyable. And so this is why when I often have people come to me and say, hey, what's your workout plan? What does it look like? And I share my workout plan. I love my workout plan. It's enjoyable to me. And not everybody wants to run. And that's fine. Right? I've done dance classes before. I've done hot yoga. I've tried cycling classes. You know, there are a number of spin classes rather. There are a lot of different ways where you can exercise. And it doesn't have to be my way. It doesn't have to be your best friend's way. Right? But there's definitely a way that you can achieve the things that you want by having more fun. And so if the thing that you're doing isn't working, it's time for some reflection. It is. It's not going to be painful. It's not going to be scary, right? Some people don't want to reflect because they'll feel shame and guilt around the idea that they didn't get it right the first time. We never get it right the first time. But if you can reflect on what's not working, it gives you the opportunity to look at things differently. So I like to do this depending on what it is that I'm moving towards. Again, 30 days is usually my minimum. But sometimes after 7 days, right, if I'm sitting down and journaling on Sunday and I go, you know what, this isn't working, and I reflect on that thing. What worked, what didn't work, what can I do differently? Because I don't ever want to get stuck making 1,000 steps in the wrong direction. I'd rather pause and reflect and go, okay, let's course correct here before I end up, 5 miles down the road in the opposite direction. It's a learning process. It's okay if you get it wrong. It's okay if it doesn't make any sense either, right? So, if something doesn't seem to be working, reflect on it. Ask yourself some of my 3 favorite questions. What worked? What didn't work? What can I do differently? And the answers will be there if you have the courage to look for them. So, I'm sending you so much love. I'm enjoying this conversation. I could talk about this all day long. But I will let you go. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. And as always, be you, because the world needs more of you. Bye.